everyone. Woohoo, it's 12/12. 12/12 is a really beautiful number. I chose this time because it is, if you ever looked at angel numbers before, it's the number of manifesting our intimacy, manifesting our soulmate, manifesting our true love, our heart's desire. I love 12/12, and so that's why we do these every week at 12/12. I hope that you take the time to Google 12/12 and find out why it's significant for you. Awesome. So you guys, here's what I want to hear from you, starting right out the door. We're talking about critical advice. I'm going to give you two crucial pieces. I encourage you to bring a notepad and write these down. Two crucial pieces that are going to help you avoid massive explosions as you navigate what is like landmines, right? Of all this marriage advice from marriage experts and trying to navigate just having a good marriage, right? So what I want to hear from you guys in the comments right out the door is, what's some expert advice that you've heard about marriage? Just quick lines. One example is like, just appreciate him more. Okay. Like put those in the comments. I want to hear what's the like first thing that comes to mind when you think marriage advice that I've been given. And I loved some of the ones that were shared earlier this week when I asked, what's the worst marriage advice you've ever received? And some of these, you know, can just be from well-meaning people who have every good intention, right? They want your marriage to survive. Always be nice to your husband. Never let a disagreement impact your sex life. I want to barf with that one, but it's rampant, isn't it? Like a lot of people say that. A lot of people say it's your wifely duty to have sex. Don't go to bed mad. Don't disagree with him over parenting issues. Don't talk to anyone if you're having problems. Ugh, that one kills me. Honestly, most of these I have fallen prey to. Oh my heavens. There's another, never refuse sex. So damaging, you know. As like modern women, we want to just be like, oh, that's not a thing anymore. I posted about that in a group full of entrepreneurs. Duty sex, good or bad, or something like that. And you wouldn't believe how livid everybody became, as if this is a thing of the past. I'm like, I'm an intimacy coach. I talk to women every day. And I would say like half the women I talk to like have operated inside of that paradigm. Like, this is not a thing of the past. This is something we still deal with. And even if we say no, we likely feel shame for saying no. You know, so anyway, it's a thing, right? Okay. I'd love to hear from you guys watching. What are some of those marriage advice, pieces that you've heard, good or bad, that you've followed, that you've read, that you've seen, even things I've said? What are those marriage advice pieces? And while I'm waiting to, hopefully my comments will load, while I'm waiting for that, I just went over to my bookshelf and I was like, okay, let me just pull out all the marriage books that I have. And as I was pulling them out, there's like a fat stack. It's heavy. So I am not here to say that I have not read marriage books. I am not here to dog on marriage experts. I am one of them. I am merely inviting some new thinking around this topic and helping you guys to navigate. Because I know I did not know how to navigate the bombardment of advice. I was in that desperate place trying to get my marriage to work. So I've got Smart Couples Finish Rich. That's about retirement and planning your money well. I Hate You, Don't Leave Me, about attachment patterns and borderline personality disorder between husband and wife. This one's like a religious sex book, Boundaries in Marriage. I just recommended that to someone the other day on the phone. Hold Me Tight, The 5 Love Languages. I have 2 copies of these right now because I give it out all the time. I actually really like the love languages. It's a great like baseline. It's a baseline. Fascinating Womanhood, 2 different editions. So yeah, what's the advice, you guys? Okay, I'm guessing my comments are not refreshing. Let's get over here to our video. Yeah, they must not be refreshing because I don't see any comments. That's so frustrating. Well, hopefully they'll refresh in a second, then I can see what you guys have come up with. But I'd also love to hear in the comments if you guys have had the experience of applying something that you learned, some piece of marriage advice that you learned through a book or, you know, some free avenue of marriage advice that didn't really work out. It didn't work out like you thought it would. It seemed good, but then it didn't turn out, didn't quite turn out. I like really want to know what you guys are saying, so I'm like frustrated, but it is what it is. So we get a lot of advice, don't we? And how are we to know what is the best route for us? How are we really to know? I have had the privilege and opportunity of saving some people's marriages, being at that crucial crossroads point with them, and literally wondering, you know, what direction is this going to go? Because it takes 2 people to figure it out. And I have been there at that crossroads, and I have literally seen marriages turn around. I've seen that working with couples. I've also seen that working with just the wife. And it's inspiring, but I've learned some things as I've done that. And one of the main things I've learned is that we can't just follow this advice black and white, because it will blow up for us. It will. I have a client who came to me through the books Fascinating Womanhood. I haven't really talked about this in this group, but these books, Fascinating Womanhood. These books, I was certified as a Fascinating Womanhood teacher before I became an intimacy coach. And I think that these books are kind of like a double-edged sword. They have to be read with a lot of care, and you have to be close to your inner knowing in order to read them and have it make any sense. So I have one client who waffles back and forth. We both we met when I was in that space, and then, you know, have transitioned over, and she will waffle back and forth into, but the book says that I should XYZ, right? The book says that I should. And then when she goes and does the things, something happens. Something will happen, and it's lethal. It can be lethal to her to her marriage. What happens to her is that she feels on the inside like what she is being asked to do is killing her slowly. It's killing her on the inside. And so, how often do we do that as women? We go into these situations and we're like, well, the expert says that this is what I need to do. And so I'm going to just do it. And then we sell ourselves out as we do that. We really sell ourselves out, and then it's not sustainable in the long run, right? So, gosh dang it, how do we avoid that? How do we actually navigate all this advice in a way that's going to benefit our marriage, in a way that's actually going to make a difference? So there's two crucial pieces, two crucial safeguards. I have a friend who's in the military, and she's been deployed before. And when I was thinking about this and thinking about the what it felt like for me when I was in, a place in my marriage that felt crucial, and I was seeking advice from the experts, the image that came to mind was actually an image that she shared with me of driving across the desert in Afghanistan, I think. And you had to be constantly on the lookout for the bombs that were just underneath the earth. And they could be anywhere out in the middle of this vast desert. And she was in charge of making sure her whole, I think they call it a convoy, the whole group of, 20 trucks made it from one base to another, delivering supplies. And that's the image that came to my mind as I thought about this. That's what it felt like. It felt like, okay, I know the end goal. The end goal is to have a better marriage, but there's all these landmines, there's all these, and I don't know where they are. And I don't know when, things are going to fall apart again, or I'm going to explode, or he's going to explode, or it was so terrifying. It was terrifying. So I want to give 2 keys. Are you guys ready for the 2 keys? If you are, put 2 keys in the comments. I want to give you 2 crucial keys that are going to support you in navigating these landmines. And these are really tangible tools that you can use. The first one is, does this align with me? So it's like, picture a stop sign. When you start to go into, I'm going to do this thing in my marriage, I'm going to try this thing, I'm going to just appreciate him, that's what I'm going to do. And then you start to do the thing, you have to put up that stop sign and check in with yourself. Does this align with me? How does this feel? Does this feel right? I've seen client after client fall into this trap where they appreciate him on this big. It's like, oh, well, I just know I'm supposed to appreciate him more, but it doesn't feel true. It doesn't feel true what you're trying to say. So you go and you might go a whole week appreciating him, and then eventually you explode and you tell him all the things he's done wrong. How confused is he going to be about that? Is that actually going to do any good? Because inside all week, you could have been listening to that little voice inside that's saying, this doesn't feel true. This is not true right now. Don't give appreciation if it's not true. I mean, really true, It's like, yeah, okay, thanks for taking out the garbage, but also I really wish you hadn't cheated on me. We can't just gloss over those feelings inside. So that first key is, does this align with me? Just checking in all the time, all the time. The second key is words that you say. And here's the phrase. Soon as I find myself or hear a client saying, I just got to get him to. Get him to. Get him to. That's the phrase. It's like, again, like a stop sign. And I still will catch myself saying this. It just, you know, if I can just get him to, and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hold it. If you're doing anything in your marriage, it should be to better your life experience, to pour into that beautiful union that you created called your marriage. It's separate. It's separate and aside as if there's 3 people in this marriage. One is you, one is him, and one is the marriage. So you are pouring into you and the marriage and hoping that your husband decides to do the same, hoping that he comes along for the journey because it's good, it's great, it feels good. So we can't do any of these marriage things to try to get him to try to get him to change, try to control him, try to get him to realize his errors or whatever. Because anything that he does has to come from within him. So get him to. As soon as you find yourself saying that phrase, it's a stop sign. Wait a second. You got to go back and go, why am I doing this? What can I do that would fulfill me and the marriage? Not try to get your husband to do something that he's not ready to do. He's just not ready to do. Okay, so those are our 2 keys, my friends, and these are going to save you years of heartache, years of heartache. I went through, I mean, as you saw, I went through all these books. I went through all the advice. I tried all the things. I sold myself out. I bet I sold myself out in my marriage for about 10 years. That hurts saying that out loud. It hurts my heart and soul. You know, just giving up, selling myself out. Giving up what I want, what I feel, what I think, what my intuition is saying, what the spirit is speaking through me. Just giving it all up. Desperate. Thinking I was desperate to try to save the marriage, but really I was desperate to try to change my husband. So I don't do that crap anymore. I have made a commitment to myself. I do not sell myself out. Not for anyone, for anything. So here's the energy piece. Again, if you're watching here and you and your spirit wants to receive this, then you will just say yes. If you don't want to receive this, then your spirit will not receive this. We're just going to call, first we're going to just breathe. Man, just bringing in that, how many years have you sold yourself out in your marriage? Bringing that in and then noticing the sensations that show up in your body as you think that. Really getting clear with those sensations in your body. There's a pain or a tension or a discomfort. It will show up as a manifestation of the energy of this thing. Whether it's sadness or grief or anger, whatever it is, noticing those sensations in your body. We're just going to gather up that energy and send it love. Just penetrate it with love. I'm checking in, asking if it's ready to clear. This may just scratch the surface. That's the sense I'm getting. This is just going to scratch the surface. But you can do this over and over again. You can come back and watch this video or do this over and over again. And then just releasing whatever's ready to go. And that created some space. And I'm sensing this from the group, whoever is watching now, whoever watches the replay, and your energy says yes. I'm sensing some space created there, and in its place, it's a commitment. I will never sell myself out. I'm committed to doing whatever it takes to navigate this in a way that honors me. I'm going to do this in a way that honors everyone's highest and greatest good in the situation, including myself. There is no need to sell myself out in my marriage. To have a successful marriage does not include a woman who sells herself out. Just breathe those affirmations in, filling up that space. Great. So just as a reminder, those two pieces, am I in alignment? Is this thing in alignment with me? And that second one is, so again, and what you do there, stop sign. Let me just feel, let me notice. How am I showing up in this space? And that second one is get him to. When you say the phrase, get him to. Just trying to get him to. Anytime you're trying to control or change your husband, it's a stop sign. Wait a minute, what am I doing here? Let's regroup. Let's bring it back. Bring it back to this energy session. So giving all your energy back, anyone who accepted, I'm excited to see how this changes and activates things for you. A thriving marriage never has a woman who gives herself out, who sells herself out, who gives away her heart and her desires. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.